Good day to everyone. I wanted to briefly go over what I've done for an installation of off-grid power generation. I did this for two reasons. Number one, to learn a little bit more about power generation through solar, as well as to have something to supply me with a limited amount of electricity in case of a hurricane, tornado, power grid failure, or an AHBL day when the power grid or something is taken down. What I've done here, I did about 7 years ago, and got a 30% federal tax credit and actually a 50% Georgia tax credit. What it consists of is, I'll show you outside, are 6 solar panels wired in series, which on a good day sends in about 120 volts of DC current to the Morningstar TriStar controller. I have it shut off right now, but I can turn it on first, on last. Okay. What it does is converts to, of course, 12 plus volts, or around 14 volts, to power what I have down here now and have had are 6 go-kart batteries, ECG2s, which I got from Sam's. After 7 years, these are just about junk, and I'm considering my options on replacing them either with something similar, or a Trojan flooded cell, or what I'd really love to do is do the lithium iron phosphates. Unfortunately, they're pretty expensive, and I'm pretty old, and they'll probably outlive me. But that would certainly be the best way to go. What I have is that I'm feeding these batteries up through a fuse. Right now I have it's a 2000 watt. This is modified sine wave. Up until recently, I had this Xantrex 1000 watt pure sine wave on there, but I needed this for another project I'm doing. I took it out and replaced it with this modified one, which I had. What I would basically do with this is power these 2 chest freezers in case of an emergency. And what I've done with this one is taken a controller, temperature controller, and I have it sensing inside of this chest freezer, and I'm keeping it at 35 degrees, and I'm powering it here, powering the chest freezer through this control, so that it only comes on when the temperature gets above 35 degrees. So it comes on and runs for a minute or two, and then stays off for at least a half an hour to an hour. In this setup, these chest freezers, because when you open the door, very little cold air comes out, will keep the cold in them. And it's a very efficient way of creating a refrigerator. Yeah, right now I just have some sodas in there and water. I have also built another one of these for this one, which right now is a freezer, but in an emergency I would convert it into a refrigerator as well and bring all of the food I have in the house out here. In a real emergency, I would also use this to store any deer meat or anything else that I would get, vegetables or whatever. In addition to that, I would have enough power to power one of my pellet stoves, wood pellet stoves in the house to keep it warm during the wintertime. So that is the setup right now. Right now we're in absorption. It's putting in 15.8 amps into the batteries at 14.5 volts. It will put as much as 60 amps in there on a very good day if the batteries were decent. Right now I can put a load on those batteries and they'll go flat in 15 or 20 minutes. That's why I need to decide whether to use lithium iron phosphate or just go back to some more flooded. Out here I have those 6 solar panels. They're made by DM Solar. Each one was 145 watts. It gives me a total of 840 watts, I believe. On the back side, you'll see I have 2 large posts in the ground. And they come up to this rig, which I got on eBay. You can set your angle depending on your latitude for best solar collection. And the cells, or the panels, are mounted to this stuff, which is called Unistrut. You can get that at a local metal shop, which is the same place where I got the poles. They're in cement deep in the ground. As I said, they're mounted all in series, which is one great thing with the MPPT controllers. If you put them all in parallel, you would have just its output, which is 18.7 volts max. That's max. And as soon as the sun started going down and the voltage went down, you'd stop charging. But with them in series, if each one's only putting out 10 volts, with 6 of them, there's 60 volts still going into that MPPT controller, and you can still get power out. These are older cells now. Things have progressed so quickly that I could replace these with 300 watt panels, but then we're talking more investment right now. And I can use what I have to charge those batteries up in a good day of sun. Coming down, they run into a junction box and then flex conduit down to solid conduit up into the crawl space above the garage, and then down into that circuit breaker box that you saw. I'll try to list as many of the things as I can down below if people are interested in where I got some of that equipment. The shocker of the whole thing was that pipe. I had to buy a 21-foot piece of pipe, and that was $100. But I'm sure if I had taken the time to go to a metal scrapyard, I could have gotten it for next to nothing. So I hope this helps or inspires people to look at alternate sources of power in case they need it. The only thing that's really lacking right now is if I want power into the house, I have to plug into whatever inverter I have here and run it via extension cords into the house. I don't have it set up for actually hooking into my system in the house. Again, thanks for watching, and good luck.